Beans up 23 quarters, 14.62 1/2. Soybean meal up 12.40 a ton at 455.10. June live cattle closed up a nickel at 136.30. August down 75 at 132.72. August feeder cattle down 2.30 at 171.82. September down 185 at 174.95. July lean hogs down 25 cents to close at 109.92. August down 105 at 103.82. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Michael Levine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Levine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Well, I might be the mayor of Manville, but the city manager of Manville is in the room, so I got to take a step back. David Furick is here. How are you, David?
Great, Mike. How are you?
All right, I'm great. What a great few summer days we've had. Just wonderful.
It's been nice, yeah.
It has. I've had my windows open at night. I can't remember the last time I did that. The whole house smells differently.
Yeah. Yeah, it is nice. Nice, cool nights.
So Terry Menke, despite all earlier estimates, is a hero in our town. And I believe that.
He's awesome.
He really has done something awesome and something that will be with us for generations. And all credit should go to Menke. Absolutely. I know Menke really doesn't want the accolades. He doesn't want the spotlight on him.
And if he were here, he'd tell you he doesn't deserve all the credit. There are lots of people that worked with him on that. And New Sertoma did a lot of work for that park.
They did, but it was Menke's idea, Menke was the driving force. And those types of people pull a community forward. There has to be somebody like that. I don't believe that groups get things done necessarily, philosophically anyway. I mean, of course, people have to come together, as you alluded to, with the Sertoma Club members being out there and a lot of other help that Terry got. But again, it was his idea. He picked it up from, he visited some other state, I can't remember. But it was his thing and his drive and his dream, and he got it done. My son has a stone out there from his years in Iraq.
Cool.
And a lot of people from Korea, Vietnam, World War II. And it's a beautiful park, too. It's a beautiful park. And I know Menke doesn't want the accolade, and I don't really want to give it to him. But I'm forced by the facts to say Terry Menke is an outstanding citizen of our town.
And he's probably listening right now too.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
I don't know. He stopped. He stopped coming in a while ago. I hardly ever see him anymore. Yeah. I actually had to make an appointment with him for next month.
Oh, so you better watch what you say, because he's going to have sharp objects near your eyeballs.
Oh, he always does. He always does, and that's a little frightening. But anyway, I think all of us here in Fort Dodge owe Terry Menke thanks.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a beautiful place. If you haven't gone out, and many listeners have not been out to Veterans Park, which is basically on the northwest side of Kennedy Park. It's accessed off National Avenue, which is kind of the road everyone says the backside of Kennedy. Yeah. It's a beautiful place to visit. It's a beautiful place to just sit or we can walk around and see all the stones and the art and all the things. But it's just a wonderful, peaceful place to just hang out. Especially, it's past now, but when all those trees bloom in the spring, it's amazing.
It really is. It really is. I saw that it was going on from 10 to 2. There'd be a lunch from 10 to 2. By the time I got there, it was a little after 1. The whole thing was pretty much over. Yeah. So I had 2 hot dogs and a bottle of water with some Korean guys who work at CJ Bio.
Yeah. I went out there for Terry's little surprise, and then I
didn't. Yeah,
I skedaddled after that.
Okay. Well, not many people knew he would be surprised, especially him, from what I understand. And again, he deserves all the accolades, whether he wants them or not. And he's with the Sertoma Club. They've done a lot of great projects over the years.
They do. They're great. They're a great club. They're really active.
I was in the Sertoma Club in the late 80s and through a good part of the 90s. And we used to do the Haunted Hollow down at the park there.
Oh, neat.
And that was a lot of fun. We got too old to do it, but it happens. So, David, we had a city council meeting last night.
We did have a city council meeting last night. It was pretty cool. We had a big check presentation from the EPA.
The big check.
Yeah, we got a $250,000 grant from the EPA to help clean up the nursing home Greenleaf, the abandoned nursing home on 22nd Street. Just say east of the stadium. There's a nursing home there, so it's that the EPA grant's going to go to environmental remediation, asbestos and lead removed from it, and then the city will work on demolishing as soon as that project's done.
Sure.
And then I don't know what we'll do with the land. I mean, it's a weird piece. It's not easy for redevelopment. You could maybe get a couple houses on it, and then there's the way it kind of.
Where's it at?
It's on North 22nd Street.
North 22nd.
And it's basically just east of the stadium. If you drove by and you weren't looking for it, you'd pass right by it because it just looks like houses. And then there's like a little gap where there's part of the building that looks like a nursing home, but it does kind of stretch and kind of has an L shape that goes around the back of kind of a narrow L that goes around the back of some of the houses. Mm-hmm. I think what we'll probably end up doing is trying to just give away that land to the adjacent property owners, make their lots bigger because there's not really much we can do with it.
You could give it to me.
Sure. What would you want it for?
I'd sell it to the adjacent.
Nice, Mike.
Hey, I'm a capitalist. What's wrong with that? I'd be very reasonable. My terms would be great.
Okay, yeah, we'll give it to you for all we got in it. Whatever we got in it, we'll give it to you. See, then it doesn't work because we're going to have way more in it than it's ever going to be worth. It's just one of those
deals.
Projects. That's what cities have to do is just take the stuff down.
But that could be done and benefit the city if you wanted to sell it to the property owners at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it.
Probably not. I mean, I shouldn't say give it and not be because ultimately the council is going to have to make a decision. But I don't know if
they'll do what you say. You're the Ayatollah.
No.
Come on. No. I know who's on the council. They'll do what you tell them.
No, they'll make the best decision. But they're probably the property that fronts 22nd Street can probably be turned into one or two lots for houses.
Okay.
Houses. And it's a nice neighborhood, so that'd be a good place.
It is a nice
build.
neighborhood. Mm-hmm. I love the stadium neighborhood.
Yeah.
Always
nice and wooded.
I didn't know until today, looking in the newspaper, that officers of the Fort Dodge Police Department and Sheriff's Office could grow beards.
That's a relatively recent policy change, maybe 3 years ago or so.
Really?
Yeah. It's just.
What was the decision? Why was that decision made?
It's just kind of growing with the times. The people that want to be cops.
They want beards.
Want get beards. The ironic thing is, if you look at the ones with beards, they're all the older ones. that started way before you could wear beards. You used to be able to wear a mustache, but it couldn't be no wider than the width of your lips. So
yeah, Mernka and Wilson have been around a while, I guess.
There's a little bit of gray in those beards, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Matt Lundberg looks disturbingly like Abraham Lincoln in this picture.
and I don't know when that picture was taken, but he doesn't wear a beard often. So
okay,
I don't know when that was taken, but yeah.
I hope he doesn't feel dissed because I compared him in appearance to our greatest president.
That's kind of it's ironic, but it is kind of to be more modern with the times where facial hair is probably just a little bit more mainstream than it had been 20 years ago, and also. The other policy was we allow tattoos visible, which we didn't allow.
A lot of places allow that.
Recently,
a lot of police departments. Des Moines has had that for many, many years.
We probably only had it for maybe 3 or 4 years. Visible tattoos.
When I went 21 years ago, I went out to San Diego, California, to see my son graduate from boot camp of the Marine Corps. It's a very moving cemetery service, really.
Oh, I bet.
It's very, it's happy and solemn, and it's really a warrior class that they're welcoming into their ranks, and a warrior class that is being absorbed into the larger class. But I noticed a lot of the drill sergeants there had all kinds of tattoos, the types that people go to war have.
Yeah.
James Mattis, General James Mattis, the Mad Dog who served in the Trump administration, he's got tattoos down both arms.
Oh, really?
Full sleeves, both arms. Huh. So, yeah, I guess, when I was a kid, of course, that was when Lincoln was on the earth. If you had a tattoo, you were either going to or had been in reform school. And it was usually something like John versus Cindy in India Ink or something. Anyway, what else happened at the city council meeting?
So the other thing, you know, it's kind of mundane. We approved we buy stuff all the time. We had a dead tree ordinance has finally been approved. So what this means is it's going to speed up the process if there is a dead tree on private property on how we get about getting it removed, because we're dealing now with the full-on effect of the emerald ash borer, and there's lots of trees dying. The city's removed probably almost 3,000 trees from city property and right away, but there's at least as many on private property. And when they die quick.
Yeah.
You know, unlike some trees which die over a slow period of time, ash trees die fast, and once they're dead, they become very brittle. So they're very dangerous to leave an ash tree, a dead ash tree, up in the air. So we're asking people to pay attention, look at their trees, look up, and see what's living or dead. If you have a tree that's missing a lot of leaves, if you don't know what an ash tree is, if you have a tree that's missing a lot of leaves, it's probably good chance it's an ash tree, and it's going to need to come out, and relatively quickly.
There is a tree just west of the old Holly School. Holly School has been bulldozed for many years ago. You know what part of town I'm talking about up there? There's a tree across the street to the west, or is it north? I think it's north now that I think about it.
Yep.
That thing looks like a big V.
Well, it could be if it's got power lines.
It probably does have power lines through it, but the point is, I mean, there's two huge branches at a 45-degree angle. That doesn't look good, and one of the branches is all the way over the street. Yeah,
and I know it doesn't look good. Sometimes those trees can be still pretty strong, and what happens is if there are power lines, the power company will just keep trimming out the center as it grows, so it does kind of grow into two trees. But if one side's dead or the trunk is split, then it's dangerous. So
the trunk is split in this circle.
It is like okay.
I think I even have a picture. I showed it to Mayor Bemrick last week, and he said he knew where it was.
So you need to take that picture and text it to 408-9888 and say dead tree. Put the address in there.
Well, maybe the homeowner wants it out in the parking. It's in city parking, but
if it's in city parking, it's going to be city responsibility. The homeowner may want it, and if it needs to come down, it has to come down, and we can work with the homeowner on a good replacement tree for it.
Sure, yeah. Well, I've got a lot of pictures in here. I got so many grandkid pictures in here.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a lot of people know what I'm talking about. And, it just doesn't look good to me sitting there. It looks like it could drop on a car real easily, and then we would have a problem.
Yeah, we would have a problem.
Have a lot of problems. So you bought a house up on North 7th Street?
Yeah, there was a house that had become vacant. The owners had moved into a nursing home, and I guess have since passed. And so this estate was wanting to get rid of the house, and they knew what we were trying to do as far as a redevelopment. So we worked out a deal and bought it off of them.
Okay.
So that's really what that one is.
So some folks lived in the house their whole life, huh?
I don't know for sure, but they were older, and they moved into nursing care.
That happens every now and then, doesn't it? I mean, the adult children moved away, maybe don't want anything to do with the old house.
Yeah, that can happen. So you missed our fiber groundbreaking.
I had to work. I thought you were
going to do a live feed for it.
Well, it was going to be. We just don't have the staff to do it anymore. We don't have the staff to do that sort of thing. I would have loved to do that, and I think it was worthy of that sort of attention. But
it's great. We had a lot of people came out. We had the president of the Iowa Municipal Utilities come and say a few words. We had our contractors there, and they're excited to get started with burying cable. So we're getting ready to get going here.
Yeah, the picture was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Dirt nicely placed on top of concrete.
I didn't want to say anything, David. I thought, I'm snarky.
It actually really wasn't our dirt. It was our compost.
Compost? Okay.
It's easier to move.
Yeah. But it was, it's a ceremony that is done. It's just a tradition.
So we'll do a ribbon cutting when you get hooked up. How about that?
I'm ready to do it, man. In fact, you can do 4th Avenue North quickly, as far as I'm concerned. By the way, speaking of buying houses and tearing them down, all the houses on the north side of the street and 4th Avenue North over there should be torn down.
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of a mess.
Yeah.
The one on there was the big house on the corner there that was owned by the church, by the Second Baptist Church. That was torn down. There was some of the old those houses were mansions at one time. You can see it, but so that was 100 years ago.
Yeah. Speaking of houses torn down in council meeting, there's a gentleman that came to our council meeting last night. He had a house that the city has bought off him to tear down. It might even be down now. I haven't been by there. Over on Third Avenue Northwest by Elanco. We bought pretty much all the property on the south side of the street. Well, this gentleman came to the council meeting and complained, not necessarily to us, but just told us what was going on, that he had MediaCom service in there, and that he had a 2-year contract, and they're requiring him to stick with his contract even though he doesn't own the house anymore. So I'm only passing on the information. But
don't you love MediaCom?
I don't want to. I mean, I guess I'm only passing on what he said in the meeting, but I guess the point is, folks, be careful what you sign on a long-term contract, especially if you're considering Fort Dodge Fiber, because they sent according to this guy, they sent him to collections.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me.
For a house that he doesn't even have anymore.
They don't know what the term customer service means. Gouge him and gouge him good.
I mean, the house could be gone for all we know.
Yeah. Well, I have direct right now, and I had to get a contract as well. I swore I'd never do it again, but I wanted to get away from MediaCom so bad. That's what I did. Yeah. And if we start getting fiber this fall, and I'm lucky to be one of the ones that gets it relatively quickly, I'll pay DirecTV off. I'll send them a check for whatever I owe them and a picture of me giving them the bird. Say, I'm never messing with you people again. I see the office over across from the old service station across from the old post office. What's going on with that old post office? You have any idea? Is that is the Harvest Baptist Church still own that?
As far as I know, they still own it. I haven't heard anything about a redevelopment opportunity there or what their plans are.
Okay.
At one point, they were going to try to make their college there and then basically move their worship center over there as well.
That's what I thought a couple of years ago or a few years ago now. So the house on North 7th Street, you're just going to bulldoze?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, part of, because we have a redevelopment plan for the whole neighborhood.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, of a combination of, basically mixed use residential, primarily, maybe a note of neighborhood commercial in there, but pretty much residential mix of maybe some apartments, townhomes, row homes, a little higher density, trying to capitalize on people that want to live, in new stuff, but relatively close to downtown.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. You said when you were talking about Elanco and buying some of those houses over there, is that the infamous Purple House neighborhood? That
yes, the Purple House is gone. We bought that a long time ago, but
you bought that. Is it been knocked down?
Oh yeah, the Purple House got knocked down probably 2 years ago.
Oh, didn't even know.
So, but yes, that is exactly what we're doing. We are reconstructing the road that leads to Elanco from like Amigos, and basically that curve and the intersection is pretty rough and has danger. So basically, we're moving the road about 20 feet to the south and lowering it, so it's really more of a smooth. They'll have a bike path along it as well.
That's great.
And then that required taking out some houses. We'll have some surplus land, and we'll look at doing some redevelopment projects in there too, with a combination of housing, and there could be some commercial stuff as we go farther west.
Well, it's great to hear also that was a CJ Bio that found the big extension out there.
Yeah, that's a big project they had.
Is that
I did ribbon cutting.
I didn't see or hear anything about how many jobs might be added because of that extension, if any. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he mentioned a number, but at the ribbon cutting, but I think I'd probably mess it up really bad. I wanted to say it was like 20 something, but of a new process, so they can do different things with their process lines. Their typical thing is they make food additives for hogs and chickens to help them grow. But this is a different line that they could also do as well. A little bit different product.
Those CGA Bio people are pretty cool people, really.
Very much.
I talked to a couple of those guys out there, at Minky's thing over the weekend, and they're really nice guys. Yeah,
they're pretty much. If you got a community effort, you can pretty much count on CJ volunteers for a lot of things. They do different projects. I know, they're at this thing on Saturday. I know
6.5. September up 28.5 at 14.80.5. November beans up 29.75 at 14.62.5. Soybean meal up 12.40 a ton at 455.10. June live cattle closed up a nickel at 136.30. August down 75 at 132.72. August feeder cattle down 2.30 at 171.82. September down 1.85 at 174.95. July lean hogs down 25 cents to close at 109.92. August down 105 at 103.82. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Michael Levine, Nevin Mulholland, and Randy Kuhlman talking sports at AM 1400 KVFD.
We're talking. I'm doing most of the thinking, of course, but I did bring these guys along for the sports show. Hey, guys, what's up?
You are, Mike. You are way up
You're
there.
always up.
You're always up is right.
What have you been drinking?
Yeah.
I quit drinking years ago, but sometimes I really think it's still with me. So I'm surprised to see you in town there, Lake Boy.
I'm always in town every day.
Are you? But I bet if we'd have had this program on Friday, I'm off Friday and for the next week. I bet it.
Okay. And you're ripping me.
Hey, you just got back from Switzerland or wherever you people go.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But anyway, if it was Friday when we did this, you'd be gone.
I'd be here. I'd be here this Friday. Guarantee. Let's do it.
I don't know, Randy. What do you think?
Call my bluff. Let's do it.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, let me cancel vacation so I can prove.
Yeah.
Maybe we could remote Rob Jones in and
Oh man.
do a program.
Now let that get us an anchor.
We
elevate this show.
Hey, to be honest with you, very few people could compare it with Rob Jones. That guy was out there, and I do miss him. I went looking for him on Facebook the other day. I was going to have him call in one time when you guys were here. Couldn't find him. I don't know what happened to him.
Really?
Who knows what happened to him? Anyway, Rob Jones is our former sports director. Yeah, some of you remember him. He was a guy from South Carolina. Man, did he know his basketball? I'll tell you.
Knew all his sports.
He did. Yeah, he
did.
Knew all the sports. I didn't check with him much about MMA or folk style wrestling, but
True.
But he did know his sports, and he loves sports. And I hope he's doing well back home. Certainly. All right, are we going to get the golfing out of the way here for the senior tournament or what? No.
What are you talking about?
Fort Dodge Jam, you mean?
Countdown to the two. This is what it says on the
Fort Dodge Jam was last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Which one are you talking about?
Well,
Mike?
I'm talking about the one that's on the front. Well, not the front page, but the
that's
front page of the sports
city tournament.
City tournament, right?
Oh,
Is that this weekend?
no,
It's a couple weeks.
it's a couple
Is it?
weeks. Yeah.
All right.
They're just
All right.
promoting it.
Apparently, somebody by the name of Terry Miller thinks he can golf.
Terry's a very good golfer.
Very
Yeah,
good.
I believe that. And as long as we're on the sports page here, Fort Dodge did sweep CIML. They beat Ames, which is a tough nut, but they handled it anyway. I'm talking girls softball
Yeah,
here.
because Ames split. They split with Ames the first time they played,
Yeah.
which was a surprise. But,
Yeah.
yeah, they came back and beat them 11-1 in the first game, I think. And,
The same pitcher that shut them out 1-0 in Ames.
yeah,
So
that was a
go
That-
figure.
That town has really grown. I mean, Ames in the last 30 years. I mean, it's just, I don't know what they're doing.
It's a college town.
It's a college
Yeah.
town. It's a college town, and I suppose the college got bigger. I don't know.
It has
I-
gotten
they're-
bigger.
I
It's
think
gotten bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
just
think
has.
there was a year or two when Iowa State actually had more students
They
than the
did.
University of Iowa.
Yeah,
I don't know. What it is
Recently.
now. Recently, yeah.
right.
right,
Within
which
the last
is
10 years.
was unheard of before. But yeah, agriculture, big business anymore in this country.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I'll tell you, I went down to Boone for the Farm Ag Show a couple of years ago, and Iowa State had a big tent set up out there. And these young people, I was so impressed with them in the ag business. The things they were talking about happening in the next 10 years were absolutely fantastic, but I believed them. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. These are guys with master's degrees in some sort of agricultural discipline. I didn't even understand the title of their discipline.
What would like agronomy?
No, I've actually had a couple of friends who are agronomists.
Okay,
And they start talking about Nubian soil. Do you know what Nubian soil over there is, Mr.
I've
Lawyer
actually heard that. I
Oh,
I
oh,
better
I'm,
not.
oh,
No,
oh, you're
Nubian
calling me
have.
down.
I've
huh?
heard of Nubian soil.
I've heard
but
of Nubian.
I have, but I'm not.
It's
I'm
soil from the great country of Nubia.
that they've imported.
You don't know
That's
Jack.
right.
You don't know Jack about it, do you?
Yeah.
But you want to call me down about it. Okay.
I used to be in agribusiness. You didn't know that. I used to detassel when I was 14 years
Yeah,
old.
I walk beans.
And I was in management. I supervised.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I did. I was in management for Pioneer. Boy, I'd be out there just making sure you guys are getting in there and getting those stats.
Oh, he was the one sitting in the pickup all day.
I was working on my golf swing, throwing on a little tanning oil. You know?
Okay,
Yeah.
we might as well get pro baseball out, MLB baseball out of the way. For the Cub fans, forget it. It's
No,
They won
over.
last night.
No, they won last night.
no,
Yeah.
they didn't play last night.
The
But
night before.
here's a stat that you won't believe. So they played the Cardinals this weekend.
Oh, that was good. They beat the Cardinals.
Two
Oh,
out
that's
of
always so
three.
good.
They took the series. In the last 5 Cub Cardinals series in St. Louis, the Cubs have won 4 of them.
Yeah, that's very satisfying.
But that is really weird in light of how much better St. Louis has been than Chicago. Yet in St. Louis, we play them tough. And we right now we're tied series wise for the year. And believe me, I'm watching.
The Cardinals do have a tough team. They do.
Yeah.
That Goldschmidt's having a
He's
5-star.
terrific.
He is. God, are you kidding me? We're almost to the All-Star break.
Yeah.
When is that?
Probably second week of
Second?
July.
Yeah.
Isn't that
I don't
usually
know.
when it
Usually
is?
is, yeah.
Wow. No, I'm telling you, I always look
Where's
forward
it
to the
at this
All-Star game.
year?
Probably
Oh,
not Atlanta.
That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't even heard.
How does that work? How does that work out now? It has something to do with the World Series.
No, I think you bid on it or whatever, and they rotate
The
it.
world, I mean, the
placement of the city that gets it doesn't have anything to do with the World Series. They share
No.
that. But
Oh.
the two managers, and that's
Well,
coming
that's
to me now.
different. Okay.
The two managers
plus the win,
for the World Series teams, and otherwise Atlanta and the Dodgers, they'll be managing.
doesn't the winner of the All-Star game, like if the National League wins the
Well.
All-Star game, then they get the
home field.
home field
It
advantage
used
in
to
the
be
World
that
Series.
way. Now
Oh,
I
not
don't
anymore?
know if they've been
I
saying
think
that is stupid, and they're talking about changing it.
I don't know why they want to change it, but I think they dropped that. You were
Did they?
absolutely right,
Yeah.
of course. But I think last year they dropped it.
Okay.
I thought that was a nice tie-in. It's a baseball tradition, and
I think they were trying to make it a little bit more important, than just a exhibition game type of thing.
They were. That's exactly what was going on. But on the other hand, they go, "Hey, it is nothing more than an exhibition game.
it is.
And it's to have the home field advantage ride on that game. There's a lot of disagreement, and a lot of people didn't think it made sense.
Yeah.
And the team with the best record should be rewarded with the home field advantage.
I remember years ago, I have so many great baseball memories. Jim Palmer, a great pitcher with the Baltimore Orioles way back in the day. He was a starting pitcher. He struck out the first 2 guys, in the National League. Then Johnny Bench came out and sank one deep into left field. And the next guy, I can't even remember who was a great player at the time. He hit a home run too. So Palmer was done. 2 strikeouts, 2 homers.
Probably Tony Perez. Yeah.
It could have been one of those guys. Well, it didn't have to be a Cincinnati Red because it was in the All-Star.
All-Star game. Okay.
Yeah, but it was a great hitter at that time.
I have an interesting story about Jim Palmer. I was at a conference in Chicago several years ago, and I had some free time, so I go into the fitness room to get a workout in, and guess who walks in while I'm working out? Jim Palmer.
Wow.
And so he starts working out, and we talked for 45 minutes. It was
Did
great.
you know who you're talking to?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Heck yes.
Wow.
Because he was at that time. He was on the radio. I mean, he was with the Orioles. I think it was Baltimore, wasn't it?
Well, that's who he pitched for.
I'm trying to think who he was on the radio for, but
he was also on TV.
yeah.
He's a good-looking dude.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a good broadcaster.
And I tell you, when I talked to him, he was just down to earth, easy to talk to, very, very talkative, and
I remember he did those underwear commercials, and the girls just
Right.
went
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
The girls just, that was almost softcore porn for them, I think the underwear company made a mistake, though, because they brought out Pete Rose in his underwear. And Pete, he just has a gut no matter what, in the page boy haircut. We should have just stayed with Jim Palmer or one of those guys because
Yeah.
Pete didn't look like he could sell underwear or
No.
anything.
You know what? I'm going to go with that. That is perfect. I have a gut no matter what. I've tried everything to get rid of that gut. That is a great saying. I have a gut
because
no matter
I have
what.
a gut no matter what.
No,
I have done so many sit-ups in my life. I have starved myself, and I still have a damn gut.
Yeah.
I just
that is good.
I just don't have the abs.
So, World Series is at Dodger Stadium this year.
Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was watching the Dodgers the other night. Who were they playing? Braves, I guess. Gosh, they were playing the Braves. That's right. And I think they won. Freeman, of course, got a big ovation.
I was loving. They were in Atlanta.
Yeah, they were in Atlanta.
Freddie was just a mess.
Yeah.
He actually fired his agents today.
What?
Pretty interesting story. It's now claimed, and he's claiming that they screwed up the whole negotiations with the Braves, and that his agent led the Braves to believe that if they didn't offer him, what was the number? Maybe $160 million or whatever, that he would leave, and that they had 1 hour. And so they didn't offer him. They weren't going to pay him that much money.
1 hour?
Yeah, they had 1 hour. And Freddie claims he had no idea because he really wanted to re-sign with the Braves. And the Braves were fully prepared to offer him more than they had, which was like 135 million, 134 million, but did not. They may have even offered him that much, but couldn't fit that window, and figured, well, he's already got a contract for that much. So they went out and they immediately signed Olson from Oakland, who's a free agent, for like 200 million or whatever for so many years. I forget but a big contract. And so it just shut the door on Freeman being able to negotiate with them. They just, based upon his agent's remarks and the way he was framing up the negotiations, they didn't think they'd get him signed. So they immediately pivoted to Olson. And so
that is kind of stupid.
Freeman,
first of all, that's a negotiating tactic to say, well, you got to sign my boy by such and such, or he'll go someplace else. But an hour?
Well done.
You got to give him a day or two.
Whatever. Sometimes that blows up on you. Just
Sometimes
like
does.
It blew up on on Freddie Freeman. If he truly wanted to come back, you got to be careful. And
but the agents could have gone. That
well,
would have allowed everybody. They would have allowed the Braves to make a counteroffer. Freeman,
right,
this is probably why Freeman's mad. It would have allowed Freeman to get involved in his own negotiation, and it could have turned out entirely different. So he had to fire him too.
He ended up basically signing with the Dodgers for 160 million. And so if that was his number or thereabouts, he would have stayed in Atlanta, and it would have been a better deal for him, frankly, because by signing with the Dodgers, first he's got to pay California income tax, which is huge compared to Georgia. And there'd be one other thing, and I'll think of it. But so he probably would have received a better offer from the Braves than what he got from the Dodgers. And he could have stayed where he wanted to stay.
Yeah, he was in tears the other night before the game. He wanted to stay in Atlanta, and that counts for something.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
counts for something.
Wow. He was drafted by him. He spent his entire career there, and he wanted to finish it there. And often you don't get that opportunity, but it sounds like he could have had that opportunity if he and his agent were on the same page.
Well, that's the agent's problem then.
The agent is now unemployed.
Yeah, I bet, or at least as far as Freeman is concerned. So this wasn't Scott Boros who handled
not
this.
Boros. It sounds like something he'd do.
Well, that's just hardball negotiating.
I know it, but you better make sure that you've got your client's endorsement. And that you're keeping him informed. And I'm not saying that Freeman wasn't informed, but I think the more he kind of dives into all this and talking with Atlanta people, he's starting to realize he could have stayed there and got what he wanted.
Well, the 1 hour to make up your mind, that's bully boy tactics.
Yeah, I know.
That's not hardball. That's bully boy.
Yeah.
And you cross the line, and the people on the other side of the table, they want to get macho too. And then, well, go an hour, screw you.
Well, you know what happened? They totally unanticipated that the Braves would swing a deal with Olson like that. I'm sure it wasn't even on their radar screen. They're thinking, well, the Braves got to sign Freddie. Where else can they go?
Yeah.
Well, now they know.
How could they think that with wealthy teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees standing around waiting to do something?
Well, that's exactly what they thought. that Freddie already had a deal. That's why they pivoted to Olson.
Yeah.
And they didn't read the tea leaves correctly, but honestly, the way it was laid out to them is probably a good move by them.
You know, I hate to admit it, but I'm vaguely acquainted with this Olson guy from. I don't see the.
I think he was having a really good year. Now I don't follow the Braves.
Yeah,
but I know he started off real well.
Yeah,
and he's very good. And I think he's younger than Freddie. And it may have been a longer contract.
Sure,
but
you were a big stud in high school there, Randy. You were the quarterback. You were a stud basketball player. Did you play baseball or not? I mean, I know this is 1,000 years ago.
I played baseball up until my senior year.
What, you didn't play in the summer after your senior year?
No, I didn't. I was getting ready for college.
Yeah, sure.
And I just decided to take the summer off and not play baseball.
Yeah, were you any good?
Average.
Yeah. Nevin, you were a star though.
Baseball?
Yeah.
I played through my sophomore year. Baseball at St. Edmunds was horrible back in the day. It really was. I mean, we didn't even have matching uniforms. I'm not kidding you. It was truly the bad news Bears.
Boy, that's right.
It was
bad.
Yeah. They didn't have a lot of money, so we'd have 3 different types of uniforms on, and mine was like wool. So I just said heck with it.
When I was a junior, I played second base. We had a good team. We won the conference, and we were playing in the state. I think it was a sub-state or whatever they call it for baseball. One game away from state, and we had to go up to St. John's and play.
Bancroft
St. John's, and they beat us in a close game up there on their famous home baseball diamond.
That's a great baseball.
Yeah, it is.
Great.
It is.
I played up there too. It is really cool. It's fun. It was fun to go up there and play there.
And that's a baseball crazy town too, boy.
Trying to think of Bancroft. Where's Bancroft compared to Algona? Where are they at?
15 miles north on
50 miles north.
169.
Okay, that's right. Yep.
But I remember Algona got together in fact, they called them the Algona All-Stars. Algona, much bigger town. We're going to go up to Bancroft St. John's and play their starters. They got beat like 12-0. We never got a run across. And we had some pretty good ball players back in those days. But Bancroft, they had some stud pitcher. I can't remember what his name. Somebody will remember. But he was he was again a real stud. And
Vince Meyer.
Yeah,
Vince was the coach.
Yeah, Vince Meyer, famous.
I was just trying to think of that. I was going to try to Google it, and then it just came to me.
Yeah.
When you're 68, it's weird how your mind works.
Yeah.
God.
But here's you guys know the answer to this because I've told you before. But for you baseball fans out there, there's a famous picture of the World Series featuring the Oakland A's and the Cincinnati Reds. Joe Rudy climbing the wall to save the game and perhaps the series. The batter that hit that Rudy caught that ball was Dennis Minke of in old St. John's.
Yep.
Who had a great career.
He had a good career.
Major.
He really did. He just died in the last couple of years.
He was third baseman, wasn't he? What was he? What did he play?
He could play third. He was a utility infielder.
Yeah.
He was. And he could play the outfield. He played left field a couple of times.
Yep. He played a variety of positions in his career.
But
I actually followed him because he was from Iowa.
Yeah.
I followed all the Iowa guys, when I was growing up.
Sure, I did too, and of course that's a Catholic town up there, Bancroft. Mm-hmm. It was, and I think it still is.
Beautiful church up there.
Beautiful. Oh, very. It is. I've been there more than once, and it's
the Johnny. And they call them the Johnnies.
Johnnies.
Yeah.
I don't. They've consolidated up there now, and it's too bad.
Do you know what they do with the field up there? Last time I was up there, maybe 6-7 years ago, and they had a pro team that was.
They did, didn't they?
It was like one of these wooden bat teams or whatever, but it was like semi-pro, made up of college players that would spend the summer in the area and play there. Then, and they would recruit them. But I don't know if that field's actively used by anybody.
Oh, it's I would think, and frankly, I had an aunt and uncle there, and my uncle died. I don't know, a few years ago. I went up to the funeral, as you say, in that beautiful church, and gosh, I never thought to ask anybody up there if they were still using that field. But yeah, it's still there.
But when I was there, and I actually made a point to drive over there. I was in the area and look at it, starting to show its age because I don't think it was being used like back in the day. Mm-hmm. Man, that thing was like a temple.
It was
to baseball.
It was a temple to me.
Yeah, it was so neat. Yeah.
Baseball, I'm still sentimental about that sport. Anyway, Randy and Nevin are here, and we're going to be back.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
The news is coming up.
Do me a favor, farmers of Iowa, and honk your horn if you're proud to grow soybeans.
number of ways, and you will be enlightened and a better person if you do. Maybe that's an overstatement. I don't know.
Pretty much sounds right on to me, man.
Anyway, so let's talk a little basketball, Randy, because actually, both you guys love to talk basketball. So where are we at as far as we've been talking about the Murray situation down at University of Iowa. Where are we at with that? Has there been any change here in the last week or so? Or
no, not really. I mean, he's committed to come back, and of course they need him, and hoping to have a big year like his brother did.
Yeah.
I mean, that story about Keegan is unbelievable when you figure that no one even wanted to recruit him, and no Division I school. Iowa took a chance on the two twins, and boy, did that pay off, And
where are they from?
Cedar Rapids.
Cedar Rapids. That's what
there was a fellow that I know that was extremely critical of McCaffrey when he gave him scholarships. He's sitting directly to my right.
I was gonna so you're not actually going to admit that Nevin's right here on this, are you?
Well, here's the thing. At first, I think the rumor was that they were just walk-ons, that they weren't even offered scholarships. Now, that must not have been the case, but when it first came out, that was the assumption that that they just offered them a position on the team, and because they were related to Kenyon Murray, and but boy, that
and Randy was critical of even that. even letting them walk on.
No, we needed practice.
We needed practice, did you?
But,
I got to tell you on that note. So this weekend, I stumbled across a podcast by the sports editor, I believe, for the Sacramento newspaper, and he does.
Really? Where'd you find that?
Well, it was. I don't know. I just virtually, I think it was on a website for Iowa basketball or something. I don't even know. But so I looked at it, and if it wasn't he anyway, so they were breaking down the Kings draft, and in particular, they had broken down Keegan Murray, and they had done a session, and so he had previously interviewed Fran McCaffrey before the draft. Sorry. And so on his show, he was having Fran McCaffrey back after the draft to talk about Keegan Murray and the whole draft process. And it was over a 30-minute interview of Fran. And I got to admit, it was fascinating. And Fran McCaffrey really, I was impressed. I was really impressed with his whole analysis and what have you, and very much entertained. In that, so as they were interviewing him, and it was really a very good interview. This guy was prepared, and he had a lot of things to ask Fran about, and it moved, and it was a nice flow to it. But one of the issues was that a number of sports, let's say personalities, were saying that Keegan Murray had little upside, that based upon a number of things, including his age or whatever, the upside for Keegan Murray was much less than, say, for Ivy and most of the other top 10 or lottery pick individuals. And it was a knock against Murray. So he asked Fran directly what he thought of that. And Fran pulled no punches.
Oh, man.
So Fran goes, let me tell you something. He says, listen, the people that, and I've read some of that, and I wanted to see who was saying that. They've never seen Keegan Murray play, number one. I will guarantee you they've never seen him play, or if they have, very little. All right. And he said, I will comment on things, and this is no knock against Ivy at all. Ivy's a heck of a ball player. Mm-hmm. I played against him, for many years, twice a year. I know his mom. She was at Notre Dame when I was there coaching. We're good friends. He's terrific. He really is. But he said, going back to Keegan, anybody that says that really doesn't know him. They haven't really watched him. And frankly, it's just an idiotic statement. And they go, well, Fran, that's pretty strong talk. He says, quote me on it. Idiotic. They're idiots. They are idiots. And it was really good. It was entertaining, and
the return of a plain-spoken man. That's a good thing.
Yeah, well,
well, and I Keegan had a huge step up from his previous year. So I agree with him. I don't think people know how good he can become.
Well, and that's the flip side of the argument. And part of his point was, hey, he's just scratching the surface.
Right.
Because look at the improvement he made between year 1 and year 2. And I'm here to tell you, he's good. He'll be better.
And he works hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a great citizen. He's a very good student of the game, high basketball IQ. He's just got, and his point was too, he said, and this is another typical Fran, when all the rest of these pros are out running around the night before a game, trust me, Keegan will not be. Keegan will be watching film. He'll be getting ready. He will be taking care of himself. He takes this stuff seriously.
Well,
this kid's a winner.
And I'll show my age here, but on draft night, he was picked number 4. And all of these guys that get picked, you saw Paulo Banchero with his fancy outfit. They look like a bunch of pimps,
What is that?
And Keegan
and
Murray.
Their mothers show up and they look like strippers.
Right. Keegan Murray gets up with a very conservative suit on. He's humble. He looked like he is on the basketball court, quite honestly. And just as a class young man, the whole family is. And as an Iowa Hawkeye fan, I couldn't have been prouder of the way he represented himself in the school and the state, quite honestly, because he didn't, get all jazzed up with some crazy looking outfits,
Well, again, a couple of mothers showed up in red dresses, split up the side. It was all about them,
It's a little bit of the culture, fellas.
Well,
all of that,
it's cultural.
Have moms changed in just the last couple of years?
Afro-American mothers and women, and
these were biracial players, and their mothers were white.
Well, I didn't see too. Who are you referring to that had a red dress on, slit up the side?
That was the number 1 pick, the guy with the
Banchero.
Yeah, Banchero.
His mom was white.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't watch it, but
yeah. And interesting enough, I think the NBA, based on an article I read about Keegan Murray's experience leading up to that event, the NBA pays for all that.
Yeah, they do.
They pay for the clothes. You get to go out and pick out what you're going to wear. They pay for everything.
You mentioned
even your hairstyle.
Yeah.
They go to a spa. It's all paid for by the NBA.
No, I'd never imply an African American woman would appear at something dressed in a risque way.
Well,
but some of your friends would run me out of town.
Well, I mean, they dress a little more provocative in some of these events. I don't have a problem.
Hey, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, okay, that's what I figured. Let's get that out here.
The
other thing I read this week was the way too early 2023 NBA draft. And one of the people they are predicting that is going to make a huge jump is Chris Murray.
Right.
And that he theoretically, arguably, could be a lottery pick.
Well, and I read an article that said that he was told he'd be a second-round draft pick this year. And he decided, no, I want to go back and.
This is Chris?
Yeah. And
wow, I didn't know that.
He with his workouts and everything, he impressed. And he was invited to the combine. They invite 60 players to that. He was one of them invited. He turned it down. So it was, they thought he'd be a second-round draft pick. And he said, nope, I want to go back to Iowa and see if I really want to get in the first round.
Well, and I think it's a smart move.
I do too.
Plus, I was probably flipping him a mill on NIL money.
I'm always worried about a kid getting hurt, He could get hurt and never go to the pros.
Well, that's fair too, actually. Yeah. It just, a big man, I might give it a little more thought, a little bit. I just feel like these guys 6'10", 7 foot tend to get injured earlier and easier than others. Yeah. I don't know. But no, but I think the difference between the money and the guaranteed money in particular, by the way, in the first, second round is well worth it for him to go back. Because don't you think, even if he has a mediocre year, he could still go in the second round?
Right. And Keegan, his brother, is going to make a minimum of $6 million.
Yeah.
And I think if you go in the second round, you're looking at a measly $500,000.
Well, and I think G League two-way is about $500,000.
Right. Yeah.
Which is wow.
I mean, that's nice.
That's not chump change.
No, it's not.
They would be one of the highest paid people in Fort Dodge, Iowa.
Yeah.
When you think about it, I mean,
oh yeah,
you forget how much money these guys are making.
Oh, the money is ridiculous.
Even at the very bottom of the totem pole.
You were talking about Freddie Freeman a little earlier, 130, 60 million, whatever the hell. You know, the numbers.
Baseball's out of whack. I mean, they're crazy at that.
You think so? Well, they must be making the money if they're paying the players that much.
I mean, compared to what players in the NFL make, my gosh.
Oh, no.
The NFL has always gotten screwed. It's always screwed their players. In the NFL, you know, the average, I heard, well, this information is a few years old. The average career span of a lineman is about 3 years. So
running backs are less than that. Linemen will last longer than most positions.
They'll pay linemen. They don't pay running backs because they just figured they just get one in and one out.
Yeah,
you know? Well, they last about 4 years.
That's true, too.
They got a short shelf life.
Yeah.
They do. They really do.
No, but I think Randy's point is when you look at the toll that it takes on your body, that you don't have much of a guaranteed contract like you do in baseball. I mean, if you're going to play a professional sport, come on.
Yeah.
Sign me up for baseball.
You
know,
half the game you're sitting in the dugout.
Yeah, you know. And I want to be a middle reliever from the left side, making about $10 million a year. Okay,
that's
me out there.
That's a poor one.
Yeah, well, trot me out there in the 6th inning, throw an inning or two. I don't need to close. A little too much pressure. I don't need to start. Just give me middle relief. I'm a happy camper.
Well,
that's a good point.
An average NBA player. I mean, what's Doug McDermott making?
He's making he signed a contract. I thought he got overpaid to the tune of about $41 million for 3 years.
Unbelievable. Over, you know,
he
13 million.
He got
McDermott.
Yeah, he got a heck of a contract.
Harrison Barnes, $80 million. $80 million for Harrison Barnes. And don't get me wrong, Harrison Barnes is a nice player, but he's an average NBA player.
Yeah,
right. Neither of these guys.
He's getting a little older by now too.
And an average NFL football player.
Well, he signed this some years ago.
Okay.
He's on the tail end of it.
All right.
As a matter of fact, he's going to be playing with Keegan Murray out in Sacramento.
That's right, he will.
Yeah. 2 guys potentially starting for Sacramento from Iowa, Iowa High School. So
that's great.
That is great.
Yeah.
That's great.
You know,
how long's McDermott been playing?
Oh boy, he's bounced around. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 or 6 years.
I would have guessed a little longer, but
I don't know. I mean, he's kind of like, you know, Tolliver. He's got a jersey from every team in the NBA, but not quite. But hey,
if you're still signing contracts for $40 million for 3 years,
he got a good contract. Yeah. I mean, he really got a good contract.
Is he a starter?
Yes.
Oh, does he start?
Yes, he does start.
Well, I didn't know that.
But he was injured a lot this year, and so in fact he was on the last quarter of the year. Let's say last 20 games. I think they just shut him down. He was hurt. So, and you know, San Antonio's an interesting team. They drafted three guys. They had 3 draft picks in the first round, and they've got a couple of young kids on that team and a center. It'll be interesting to see how much better they are. They have a very interesting team with a great coach, you know.
And there's, you know, the free agency. I was looking at that today. There's a lot of free agents out there in the NBA that could change the complexion of a lot of teams.
Well, and the NBA West is insane.
Right.
I mean, you've got Golden State, okay, and then you've got the Lakers and the Clippers and the Timberwolves.
The Clippers? Are you going to
Phoenix?
Put them in there?
Oh, I like the Clippers next year.
All right.
Because Kawhi should be back. Paul George should be back full speed. And who did they just sign? I thought, John Wall. John Wall is going to the Clip. If he stays healthy and with their other cast of characters, hey, I don't sleep on them either.
Hey, Kawhi, I still don't think he gets the respect he deserves. I mean, there's still a lot of talk about other NBA players. I mean, especially after this, after the NBA championship. I mean, Stefan had this great year, and he's a great player. But Kawhi Leonard, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the top 3 players in the league. He's a great player
when he's healthy.
Yeah,
he hadn't been around this year. He didn't play much, if at all. I don't even remember if he played. Last year, he's beat up too. So,
is he getting older? How much?
Oh yeah,
he's getting up there. But
yeah.
But there's a lot of pretty good, almost role players, but important players that are on some good teams. There was a guard played for Villanova that really played
Gillespie?
No, the
Brunson is out there.
Yeah, Brunson.
Oh my! I've been waiting for him. I just figured he wasn't going to quite make it in the pros because he's a great college player. Well, boy, this year when Doncic got hurt, he showed what he could do.
Yeah.
Timing's everything. He goes out there, and all of a sudden, he may end up with the Knicks. His dad's now is a new assistant coach with New York, and he's a free agent.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny the way those things work.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And Josh Levine from the Bulls, is it Josh? I can't remember. Zach. If the Bulls lose him, I mean, we're back to the bottom of the league again. I mean, he's going to command some big bucks. He's been an all-star the last 2 or 3 years, and
I haven't heard much from the Bulls for a while. You guys expect better things? They're
getting better. They're improved. I mean, I think they got the right coach. I think Billy Donovan's a good pro coach. I think he's done a good job with them. I mean, I felt like the Bulls were in the dung heap, when he went there. And they all new upper management, and I just feel like they got a plan.
Yeah, they do. I think they've got some good young players, but you hate to. And they picked up the guy from San Antonio. What's his? He used to be with Toronto.
Well, he was really good this year.
Gosh, what's his name?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
The Rocha. No, what? La
Rosa.
Yeah, I can't remember. He's very good. But yeah, I hope they can keep Zach around because he's big time player.
Zach Levine was a guy that I thought he came out of UCLA, right? And I didn't think much of him. I said, this guy will never make it in the pros.
Either the Timberwolves.
Well, they're giving him all this money. Well, he ended up being pretty good for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, that's true.
He really did. I thought he's just a real athletic guy, could jump out of the gym.
Right.
Didn't think he could shoot it much. Didn't think he was a great ball handler. Way wrong.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys that got really better once he's in the pros too.
Exactly.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. If you would like to join the program, 955-1400. That's 515-955-1400. Or you can join us on StreamYard, and that's at my Facebook page, or the radio station Facebook page, AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, or at Alpha Media website. So, we're just solving the world's problems, the sports problems, anyway. I suppose now that we have prayer on football fields, it'll be the end of modern world as we know it. But I'm okay with it.
Got to end with that.
That one thing, Will, was, I didn't know much about him. We got talking about it at lunch today, and this guy who was the focal point.
He's a little bit of an oddball.
Yeah. He sensationalized the whole deal. Yeah. I think it went well beyond prayer. Because I was saying, who would waste their time on something like this? Well, then we got into it, and he's like an evangelist. I mean, it got way out of hand. It sounded like.
I don't know.
I have no problem.
There was a religious group that was backing his challenge all the way to the Supreme Court. They were funding him, certainly. So he was kind of a test case type of guy, and he accepted the role, certainly.
Oh yeah, well, he's out on his own now. He's a preacher. He's not coaching anymore, and he's built on this whole deal. I think he's built on that case, and he's done it, and I think he's done it financially to